be for my brother. A lot of things started to change in my house, including me as a 6-year-old learning to do dishes, laundry, things that I can't imagine my own daughter doing now when she's 8. But, you know, I took on those roles and I knew no different. Slowly my elementary school teachers and people, friends, parents kind of started to question what was going on over at their house. Were things okay? And, you know, they weren't, but they had high hopes for my dad and hoped that maybe giving him some suppers at night or coming over and checking on us would maybe help the situation and maybe help give him a little boost that he needed to get going. Unfortunately, that didn't help my dad. Things continued to get a little worse. I got to about age 10, I was still doing the same things. By this age, I started to meet some friends that weren't so good. Some friends that introduced me to things like drugs, alcohol, things that I'm not proud of saying that I did at such an early age. You know, but those things are things that today I'm able to look back on and know that I was crying out for help. I needed to experience, you know, some of that stuff to maybe get that teacher or that counselor at school to say, hey, we're going to take that extra step. So when I started to do some of those bad things, it took a few years for me to get into the system, but I eventually came into the juvenile system. I got a probation officer. She tried everything to keep me with my dad, tried to keep me at home. The goal is always to reunify families, not to tear them apart. And so they tried every angle, and unfortunately my dad had some issues with anger, some issues with alcohol, and he had some issues with just plain old being a parent and laying down rules and structure for me. This kind of led me into finally being in a court hearing, and I was placed into the custody of I became a ward of the state, and at that point I went on to stay at DBR, Dakota Boys and Girls Ranch. Sorry. Knowing that I was going to leave my home, even though it wasn't a good home, was probably one of the scariest things that a child, I think, can go through. There's a lot of tough factors that come along with that. Walking through those doors, there's actually a few staff here that are familiar faces that I saw that day. I won't forget that day ever. I got into my social worker's car with 2 duffel bags and a backpack for school, and really it didn't become clear until I opened the doors of this giant long group home house that looked like it was meant for a family of 25, and walked in to see several kids of all sorts of backgrounds, and everybody greeted me. And, you know, it was definitely a very, very scary, unknown situation. Living at the group home, I learned several things, and I learned a lot of things about myself. Some of the things I learned in the group home were that structure is good. It's, you know, for me it was something that I needed. I craved that structure. I became very close with some of the staff at the group home, and I was lucky enough to have them believe in me. I was able to start playing sports at school. I was able to be in activities, things that I wasn't able to do when I lived with my dad because I was too focused on being a mom to my brother. Some of the things I learned in the group home is my anger management skills. I struggled with some anger because I think I was angry at why God would put me in that situation, why things kept getting worse and worse. My anger got so bad that at one point I had punched a wall, and after punching that wall, a picture of Jesus fell on my head. I think it was a sign. I don't know.